Hi everyone, Joe Kehrig, Managing Broker of Coldwell Banker Real Estate in Danville. And this is your San Ramon Valley neighborhood update for the week of September 27th. You'll see when we get to the charts, things are staying pretty stable. But, the one thing, I'm trying to stand back and study the market, because people ask me all the time, where do I think it's going? And certainly it's stabilizing a little bit. But I hate to say that it's for the buyers out there, but I don't really see things changing a whole lot for quite a while. I heard a podcast the other day and it made so much sense, a financial podcast. And they talked about, if you remember, a couple months ago, we talked about the institutions basically buying the home, the hedge funds buying tens of thousands of homes, and even in some neighborhood going like to Houston or going to Idaho and buying 400-500 new homes from a builder even before they came out of the ground for $50,000 more than what the builder was going to ask. And you sit there and say, now, is that a good return on investment? Well, this financial podcast made a great point, which I hadn't really thought of that much. And it's like, they don't really care about their return on investment that much. And matter of fact, they made a point that home prices really haven't gone up. And you sit there and go, well, wait a minute, Joe, home prices have obviously skyrocketed. But I want you to think about something. And it comes down to one word, and that's inflation. And that is why that the big hedge funds are purchasing homes and don't really care that much about their return on investment as far as rents compared to what they pay for the property. Because real estate, as we've talked about before, is the greatest hedge against inflation. So when you sit there and go, God, real estate has skyrocketed. Well, you know what? Lumber has gone up almost 300%. Gas has gone up 30 to 40%. I was looking at renewing our A's tickets this year, and what cost me less than $10,000 was almost $15,000 here 2 years later because they didn't sell season tickets last year. That's a 33% increase. And so really the key to prices going up, real estate prices going up, is just inflation. And when you look at what's going on in Washington right now, where they're ready to print trillions of dollars more, it's funny because in this podcast, they actually said something which was stunning, that 35% of all the money's printed has been printed in the last 3 years. So it's nuts the way that they're spending money with reckless abandon and printing money. So if we're expecting this real estate market to change, obviously the interest rates going up will back up demand a little bit, the higher prices. But as far as going down, as long as we have inflation, you're not going to see real estate prices go down. You're going to continue to see them go up. Maybe not like they have the last 18 months, but they're going to continue to go up. And there is no sign with the uncontrolled spending that they're doing in Washington that there is going to be any change in inflation. Things are just going to go up and up and up and up and up. So if you don't own real estate right now, get out there and do whatever you have to do. Buy the cheapest condo, townhouse on the market, just to at least get in this train that's been picking up speed, just so you can grab on, because I don't see a whole lot changing in the next couple of years. Now, obviously, there could be huge events that could happen that could change things. But if you remember in the past, I've told you that they have said that there were about 4 million homes short because over the last 14 years, after the Great Recession, the builders quit building. So there's been over 400,000 homes a year that would have normally been built on average that haven't been built. So we're like 5.6 million homes short of what normally we would have built the last 14 years. And the statistics I just heard from the National Association of Realtors is that we are 7 million homes short of what we should be. So the supply, and when you look at the supply and demand, and then you look at inflation, don't be waiting on the sidelines. I mean, I wouldn't jump out there and be one of 10 offers necessarily, but you want to be a buyer, but you want to be a smart buyer and understand, your home you want to buy might not be the perfect home, but get into it. I definitely wouldn't sell your home and put the money in a mattress. It's fine to sell your home, but then be a smart buyer and look at getting into the market. Maybe during the winter season it slows down a little bit. No, not too much signs of it now. So let's take a look at the graphs for this week. You can see with the San Ramon market, now obviously anytime you have that many more pendings than you do actives, it's a heavy seller's market. And that's not changing, but at least you can see the stabilization a little bit of it, pretty consistent. Obviously, if pending sales were going way up and active properties were going down, that's not a good sign for buyers. But obviously things are stabilizing, but they're stabilizing at historic high prices. You look at Danville, and you saw pendings go up a little bit and active properties go up a little bit. Again, not a whole lot of change. You look at the Blackhawk market again, there's, it looks like there's more only because you're only looking at 11 to 13 pendings and 12 active properties. But for the most part, that's staying pretty consistent. But this in itself is amazing. I've been professionally selling in Blackhawk for over 30 years. And in a market where we didn't have a lot of inventory, we'd consider that less than 50 homes. And during the recession, we had 200 homes. 1 out of every 10 homes in Blackhawk was on the market. And then when we dropped to less than 50, we go, oh my God, there's no inventory. Now we have like a dozen homes on the market. And at one point a few months ago, it got down to 4 homes on the market in Blackhawk. The average price was over $4 million. The Alamo market, you can say, staying very consistent. So things have kind of settled a little bit. But again, it's still settled. Now you see here, you sit there and go, oh my God, it's a buyer's market. No, to be a buyer's market, you'd have to have way more. This is really still considered a seller's market because you have 20 pendings and only 24 homes on the market. So that is definitely, that gets into a few weeks supply of homes, even though the actives are outpacing the pending sales. And remember, in Alamo, the average price is about $2.5 million. So you go in Dublin and you can see that market's way out of whack. Well, that's because, 3 or 4 months ago, we were looking at the average price in Dublin as being under $1 million. Now it's about 1.2 million, but you can see because of the lower price range, the pendings are far outpacing the active properties. This is the interesting thing when you look at the sold price to list price percentage. If you remember going back to January, because we had to go back all the way to January where things were selling about 100% of asking, 101, 102 in that area. But literally for the last 6 months, we've had sometimes where we look at these 15 numbers, 3 weeks, 5 cities, where they've almost all been over from 110 to 115%. Now what we're starting to see is not as many offers, so prices aren't being driven as high as they were before. But remember, they haven't gone down at all, and they're still selling for over asking price on average. But look at all those 1-0s, 102, 107, 103, 105. In that whole chart, there's a 110, 114, 111, but everything else is 10 something. So we're definitely, even when you look back at September 19th, everything is less than 110%. That's the first time that's happened in about 6 months. There was always a city that was over, 110% of asking. And when you look at just last week, it's the same thing, except Danville just edged above at 111%. So, the market is definitely stabilizing a little bit. But if you're looking for prices to be going down, I just have one word for you: inflation. And as long as they just keep spending money and printing money, they talk about not raising the taxes, everything. I mean, obviously, I feel so bad when I go to the gas station because I'm very blessed in the fact that, I just go to the same gas station. I know they have fair prices and I'm filling up and I don't even look how much it is per gallon. And I see these hardworking men and women that drive in with their trucks, and that they're not making a ton of money and they're putting $100 into their tank. And these guys are not rich people. They're not one of the 1%. They're basically middle class at the best. And so you talk about, well, don't raise taxes. We don't raise taxes on the lower earners or the middle class. Well, anything that you buy when you have inflation, that's like that's like a tax raise to everyone across the board. Unfortunately, there's just some people that it hits a lot harder. So anyway, that's my little bit of I try to stay away from politics, as you know, on these videos, but we really do have a spending problem, and it's really affecting everyone in the United States that are trying to just, make a living. So as always, please feel free to reach out. Again, Joe Kehrig, managing broker of Coldwell Banker Real Estate in Danville, cell number 925-487-6838. And remember, everyone's situation is a little bit different, so reach out if you have any questions. Email joe.kehrig@cbrealty.com. So again, have a great week. Feel free to reach out. I'd appreciate it if you like the video, subscribe to it. That's great. Share it would be even better. So as always, may God bless you. May God bless your family. May God bless our military and our first responders. And may God bless the United States of America. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.